What if I told you a 1.5 lakh crore mega project exists in India that is nearly 5 times bigger than Paris? But if you look at standard satellite images, you won't see a metropolitan city. You won't see iconic skyscrapers, flashing lights, or concrete highways. Instead, you see an endless, eerie glass ocean cutting through the wasteland. Why is India building the world's largest power plant in a hostile desert where life itself struggles to survive? Stay till the end, because what this place is trying to achieve will decide India's next 50 years. If you zoom closer into the Kutch desert in Gujarat, those strange shapes reveal themselves. Thousands of chessboard-like squares stretching into the horizon. This is the Khavda Renewable Energy Park. It looks silent, almost abandoned. But these structures are part of a hyper-advanced grid designed to calculate and predict India's energy future, not by the year, not by the month, but every single 15 minutes. But why does a barren desert need a system that thinks ahead of time? Let's ask a fundamental question. What is the ultimate currency of a modern superpower? Is it trillions of dollars in cash? Is it petabytes of data? Or is it world-class healthcare? None of the above. Because without one core element, none of them can even exist. Try holding your breath for 5 minutes. You can't. Life stops. Similarly, a modern nation stops the exact second its energy grid fails. We like to believe money runs the world, but money is only a representation of value. Energy is what turns value into reality. Energy is the actual currency. Energy is what converts those numbers into physical reality. Without it, factories are just dead metal, the internet is non-existent, and cities become concrete graves. So the existential question for any rising superpower is simple. If energy is everything, who controls yours? History leaves no room for debate. Every global superpower achieved its status by dominating a specific energy era. Great Britain built its empire on coal. Soviet Russia weaponized its massive oil and gas reserves. The United States secured the century by controlling multiple global energy choke points. They didn't become powerful because they had money. They had money because they controlled energy. So where does India stand in this ruthless game? July 2012. India experienced one of the worst infrastructure disasters in human history. The northern and eastern grids collapsed, triggering a blackout that plunged 600 million people, nearly half the country, into absolute darkness. Trains froze on the tracks. Hospital life support systems switched to ticking batteries. Metro networks shut down, and hundreds of miners were trapped deep underground in pitch-black darkness. Think about that for a moment. All of this happened because of a single failure point. It proved just how terrifyingly fragile modern civilization really is. So what exactly caused India's power grid to collapse? For India, electrification may be the most practical escape route from this geopolitical trap. India needs a single medium that can replace oil, gas, and coal all at once. That medium is uncompromised electrification. But replacing fossil fuels creates a massive paradox. How do you generate unlimited electricity for 1.4 billion people without destroying the planet? The West tried and hit a wall. The United States built massive desert solar farms, and Europe poured billions into renewable grids. We like to believe, but they realized a harsh truth. Sunlight isn't the problem, reliability is. A megacity doesn't care if it's cloudy or dark at 2 a.m. Strong emphasis. It demands guaranteed, unfluctuating power every single second. Can India solve the riddle of intermittency that the rest of the world is struggling with? This brings us back to the Kutch Desert. Spanning an unbelievable 538 square kilometers, this mega project isn't just large, it's an industrial titan. More than 60 million solar panels and hundreds of towering wind turbines working in tandem to generate a staggering 30 gigawatts of power. But why build something this advanced in one of the most hostile, unlivable environments on the planet? Because Kutch is a battlefield. Temperatures routinely cross 50 degrees Celsius, the soil is corrosive salt, and constant dust storms plague. For a solar panel, dust is fatal. Even a thin layer of desert grime can slash power output by 30% instantly. In Khavda, the ultimate enemy isn't engineering or finance. It is nature itself. To survive this war, engineers had to completely change the way they thought, because Kutch was not behaving like a construction site. It was behaving like a predator. Every day the desert attacked with extreme heat, corrosive salt, powerful winds, and endless waves of dust. A conventional power plant would slowly deteriorate under these conditions. So instead of designing a machine, engineers began designing something that looked remarkably similar to a living organism. First came the skin. More than 60 million bifacial solar panels spread across the desert, constantly absorbing energy from both direct and reflected sunlight. But absorbing sunlight was only half the battle. Because what happens when millions of solar panels are slowly buried under desert dust? This is where the immune system takes over. Hundreds of autonomous robotic cleaners move across the solar fields, removing dust without using a single drop of water. In one of the driest regions on Earth, that detail changes everything. Then came the bones. Beneath the surface, engineers reinforced the foundations with specialized materials designed to survive corrosive salt and unstable desert soil for decades. But even a body with strong bones and healthy skin cannot survive without a brain. And that is where Khavda becomes truly fascinating. At the center of the project sits an AI-powered control room. This brain doesn't simply monitor the system, it attempts to see the future. Using weather data, satellite imagery, wind patterns, and grid behavior, advanced machine learning models continuously forecast what might happen next. Will cloud cover reduce generation? Will wind speed suddenly increase? Will electricity demand spike in a distant city? The system predicts these changes before they happen and adjusts accordingly. In some cases, it is effectively making decisions based on conditions that have not yet arrived. The result is a renewable energy network that doesn't merely react to reality, it prepares for it. There's one final question that nobody can ignore. Because generating clean electricity is only one part of the equation. Controlling the ecosystem behind that electricity is something entirely different. Who owns the technology powering these systems? Who controls the raw materials needed for solar cells, batteries, and advanced electronics? Who manufactures the critical components that keep this giant organism alive? If the panels come from one country, the minerals from another, and the technology from somewhere else, can true energy independence ever exist? Or are we simply replacing one dependency with another? For decades, nations competed for access to oil fields. In the future, they may compete for something even more important: control over the technologies that generate, store, and manage energy. And that is what makes Khavda far bigger than a renewable energy project. Slow emphasis. It's not just a power plant. It's a test. A test of whether a nation can build an entire energy ecosystem from the ground up, of whether the world's most populated country can secure its future without relying on the vulnerabilities of the past. And the answer is still unfolding. Every day, every hour, every 15 minutes, in the scorching silence of the Kutch Desert.